Everyone's bent out of shape because of the whole hitbox being cheating. That shit is crazy. Dude, it's just science. You can push both buttons at the same time. An arcade stick cannot push left and right at the same time. That's it. Hello? A pad can't do that either unless there's a way to macro a direction, which I think there might be. I don't even know what the argument is. Where's the argument come in? I'm sure there's someone in the chat room who's like trying to defend that Hitbox is like not cheating. I wonder what their like arguments are. What do you think their arguments are? It's not even about what's harder and what's easier. That's like a bad argument. It's not about what's harder, what's easier. That's irrelevant. Harder and easier is subjective to the person. They used to say, oh, roll cancel will be impossible to do in real match. But everyone does roll cancel in their sleep. Anyone could roll cancel. Is taunt jet upper easier on a hitbox? He doesn't get the point. This guy doesn't understand. It's not about what's easier or what's harder. Expert level world-class player, it doesn't matter. They'll do it no matter how hard or easy it is. What matters is what is possible and what isn't. For example, a 4-frame super with Ryu, that is not possible on a stick or a pad or anything. I think the hitbox is worth it for accessibility purposes, but you gotta understand, we're not talking about in your bedroom. You should be allowed to play on whatever device you want for fun, but on a competitive level, like in a tournament, nah, dude. Yeah, you can use a cork bat, you could do fucking steroids, so what? But the moment you start competing with people that don't or can't, then it's over. You're talking about something different. Let's say you're playing in a fight, a 2D fighting game, right? And every step you take matters. Being able to walk forward and instantly block with a hitbox with 2 directions is, I heard Tokido mention this, it is so fucking cheap having that advantage. That advantage in itself is absurd. Being able to walk forward and then instantly block. Walk forward, inch forward, block. That is an unfair advantage right there. It really is similar to a corked bat. A corked bat is banned because it allows someone who is an expert at hitting home runs to hit them even further. But it doesn't mean that if you give Rip a corked bat, hey, hit a home run, he's not going to be able to do it. You know, it's not a miracle worker, but what it does do is it takes someone who's an expert and elevates them to a level that really, the game is just not designed that way. Even shooting a sonic boom. Let me give you an example. A sonic boom, you have to charge back, right? Then push forward plus a punch button and then return back. You gotta go from back to forward to back, right? Think about a stick's travel time. You're charging back, it goes forward, has to go back. Being able to hit both buttons at the same time, you are charging your next sonic boom faster than the guy who's using a stick. And it's math. It's not opinion. It's not, oh, this is harder to do on hitbox. This is easier to do. This is not opinion. This is science. You know, this is science. You're hitting both commands at the same time. And if I were you, I would make it so that, let's say I'm a Guile player, I would make it so that these buttons don't cancel each other out. I would double cheat. I would cork my corked bat, because who the fuck is gonna police that? You can cheat like crazy with a hitbox. I mean, you could cheat like crazy. Who's gonna fucking police that? You think Pokimane is gonna be like, hey amigo, let me see inside that hitbox to make sure that your left and right are not being pushed at the same time? Yeah, sure. Come on, man. If you're gonna cheat, why are you cheating like a little pussy? Man up and cheat like a man and fucking do it the right way. All the way. And they do. I'm saying that shit right now, but they do. You know these people do that. Why wouldn't they? If you argue that hitbox player can walk block faster / easier, the same argument goes to parry than input move situation. Listen, dude, like I said, if I was interested in debating with a dumb fucking moron like you, I would have been reading everything that every blue name had to say, man. Honestly, I'm being honest, dude. I'm not even making fun. You don't know what you're talking about, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. You're allowed. There's nothing stopping you from you know, participating. There's no reason why you can't have your opinion. You might get shot in here for it, but you don't know what you're fucking talking about. I will explain it to you again, okay? It's a single input, which is possible on all devices. Just because it's faster on a hitbox does not make it unfair physically. It's just faster. I mean, a PlayStation pad, has less travel distance from neutral to left than an arcade stick does. Obviously, look at the fucking size of this clown device. This ancient relic of a device obviously has more physical travel distance from neutral to forward. Obviously. But it doesn't mean that it's cheating. What is cheating, however, is doing something impossible with this device, which is holding two directions at the same time. Do you understand why all that shit you said to me was worthless? And why I'm trying to tell you you don't know what you're talking about? I'm not like trying to... I could be insulting you for no reason, which I do all the time. But in this case, you don't know what you're talking about, dude. This is not a situation where everyone is qualified to chime in. It's obvious to me that this is not a situation where everyone is qualified to chime in, because lots of arguments are being made that are so stupid that I don't have the will to even debate with you. It's such a stupid argument. Like, it's harder to do a 720 on a hitbox. That kind of an argument is like, harder? Lol? This is what I'm talking about. These guys don't know what that even means. They said no one will ever be able to use roll cancel in real matches. No one will ever be able to use roll cancel. Do you know what roll cancel is? You have no idea what you're even talking about. You're like a baby. Like a fucking baby. You're involved. You want to help cook. You want to help cook dinner, amigo? Here, take this spatula.
Thank you.
And lick the frosting off. That's what's going on here. You think you're a part of this shit, but you are a baby. You don't know. You want to help with dinner? At avoiding the puddle, you have to let go of back to fire a sonic boom, because left plus right equals neutral on a hitbox. That's what it equals on your hitbox. That's not what it equals on my hitbox. On my hitbox, it's set up to let you push left and right at the same time. In fact, I made it so I can select which one has priority. How do you feel about that? Your hitbox sucks. My hitbox is way better than yours. And guess what? No one is ever going to punish me for it. Are you? How are you ever going to be able to detect that? Have you ever considered the idea of rules and competitive, like, integrity, policeable shit? But then again, at the end of the day, you could also be on Ritalin or whatever the fuck it is, Adderall. And they're not going to look into that either. Right? So it comes down to that. Who's going to police this shit? No one. But the way I see it, if you are trying to win, then you have to use all strats that are available to you to win. You see what I'm saying? And if Adderall is not banned, use it. If having a hitbox with cheap-ass inputs is not technically banned because they don't police it, use it. I think that type of cheating is not even really cheating. That's exploits. That's like the type of thing where, the developer didn't know that this combination of tactics would synergize the way it did, and now you're using it. It's an exploit, like an infinite. That's like an infinite. They have to ban it for it to be banned. This guy's argument would work if everyone was a pussy like him. But everyone is not a pussy. I promise you. There are people using all kinds of medicated drugs, and I'm not even talking about green marijuana. And there are also people who are cheating with their arcade sticks. That's it. I promise. You're way behind. Technically, you're like a poser cheater. You're not even a real cheater. You're doing it all wrong, dude. You're doing it wrong. Your hitbox has honor. My hitbox has no fucking honor. 10 paces at dawn. You start counting and I shoot you. And you're dead and there's no cops. Who's going to walk away the winner there? I mean, there's no honor if they can't police it. You're not thinking about it right. That's the thing. That's why when I tell you, like, oh, you know, I don't really want to debate with you, a lot of people are telling me all kinds of things that are like, you're not thinking about it right. You're not thinking about it like rules and laws and policing the laws. You see what I mean? You're not considering that. In professional anything, right? Sports, they do drug tests, right? So that means that if you get caught on a specific type of drug, you are banned. But if they didn't do drug tests, right? If they didn't, then don't you think everyone would openly just do it? I mean, they don't drug test. They do steroids in sports, even though they do test for it. There's an endless game of cat and mouse between drug tests and steroid development. This is a huge industry out there. You know that moron that said, but Hitbox is providing so many jobs. I mean, dude, there is a massive steroids industry where they keep designing new steroids, then the people testing for them design new tests, and it's back and forth forever. But there is nothing like that for hitboxes or for fighting games. So you might as well just do it. Why not? Why not? I don't see why not. Do you? Tell me why not. Honor? If that's your only argument, then I'll be holding your wallet in my pocket soon. I'm looking forward to seeing what's in your wallet. I'm trying to look at this through the perspective of someone who is being totally rational. My opinion is that they should ban pads. That's my real opinion. It should only be arcade stick. That's my real opinion. But we're not talking about my opinion. My opinion is out of this. This is about, what's possible on the device. That's the key. The key argument. What is possible and policeable on the device. That's it. Banning the pad is like, Aris, you are just a fucking old man. I admit it, dude. I think that fighting games were designed for arcades and they were designed to be played on stick. But when they started releasing fighting games on consoles, the console comes with a fucking peripheral. You can't expect everyone who wants to play Tekken or Street Fighter to spend hundreds of dollars on an arcade stick. It's fair. Fine. Let them fucking play. You are a pussy. But fine. Okay, that's me. That's like my opinion. But this is not about that, dude. This is simply about the device and what it's allowing you to do. Like, this is fucking not fair. It is simply unfair. The directional inputs are the key. It's the directional inputs that are the key. Being able to push left and right and up and down at the same time. Or, let's say the command of a move, right, is up, forward to down, back. Don't you think being able to go from up, think of the travel distance between, on a square gate controller, the travel distance between up, forward, and down, back. That is like a massive, it's like an inch of travel distance or more. And you could be pushing those same buttons simultaneously. Are you listening? Someone earlier said it's harder to do a 720 motion, right? But if you exclude harder, right, the guy who was presenting that argument, let's assume this guy wasn't a fucking scrub. And we're talking to someone who is a world-class execution expert. Do you think that guy is going to be like, okay, it's a little harder on a hitbox, but I could do that shit perfectly in an inhuman way. I'll take the hitbox. You don't think that's going to happen? It's harder on a hitbox? Do you know what we're talking about? Humans are capable of really crazy things. I'm telling you, they are. Roll cancel, bro. I should think of a better example than roll cancel, but it's true. You can do it. Basically, the moral of the story is you can do it no matter how hard it is, as long as you believe in yourself, no matter how hard it is. So once you start realizing that down to your core, like in your heart, you know, I could do it no matter how hard it is, then you start looking at these arguments a little bit differently. Once you start believing that's the truth, these arguments become different. You start to exclude how hard something is. You start to exclude things like that, and you focus on, wow, this is just simply superior. Simply superior. And it's not about, you're limiting yourself basically. Saying arguments about like, oh, this is much harder on this device, this is much easier on this device. You're limiting yourself. If you remove those limits, you'll realize that it's not about what's harder or easier. It's about what's possible and not possible. We do things because they're hard, not because they're easy. They went to the moon. The moon. The same species, they probably looked up at the moon and thought that was fucking God at some point, right? They looked up at the moon and they thought this shit is God. Couple thousand years later, we are stomping on God's face, putting US flags in his ass. Think about these things, dude. They're just simple limitations. Once you remove the limitation, you can go to space. There's no limit, you know? Nothing's hard. Nothing's hard. You could do anything. Roll cancel, dude. You could do anything. These guys do roll cancel in their fucking sleep. Anyway, I'm not trying to like make enemies with you. Like, it's cool. We could be friends if you're a Hitbox user. That's no problem. I like cheaters. I've always been like, hey, good shit on that cheating. You got them good. I like that. It's cool. You get away with it. I like getting away with it, you know? The idea. So that's why I'm pro Hitbox. Do that shit. All you are doing is what I know everyone else is doing. Embrace technology as it gets better. Adapt and overcome. Either you're going to change and improve or be left behind. Look at all other sports. Football gloves, baseball, shoes, etc. You're right. They invented steroids. So embrace fucking technology, dude. We got this new steroid. Everyone should use it. Oh, they invented this new kind of undetectable shit that, I mean, dude, embrace technology, man. Just go ahead and use it. Do you see the kind of guys that I'm having to fucking debate with? Do you understand why I barely even peep a word of this kind of shit? Because everyone in the chat thinks they're a fucking genius, dude. Everyone in the chat thinks, oh, let me chime in on this shit with a paragraph. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. You're an idiot. But it's okay. I'm not saying you're doing something wrong. You just don't know yet. You don't know yet. And when you get older, you'll know. Trust me. And if you don't, then should have had a better set of parents. I don't know. What do you want me to do? I can't fucking help you, dude. I can't help you. Embrace technology, dude. That's your fucking argument? That's the guy's argument. Have separate tournaments by controller type. And then have a tournament between the top 4 from each. See what data it gives. I'm about to fucking jump out the window, dude. These are the guys I'm like dealing with. I'm the idiot. I'm sorry. I take it back. I take back everything I said. I'm the fucking idiot. It just hit me. It just hit me. I put on a suit and tie and brought my briefcase into a fucking kindergarten class, and I'm having a serious debate with a bunch of fucking kindergartners. I'm over here bringing serious heat. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and you're like, my cat's breath smells like cat food. Huh. I overdressed. Your cat's breath? It does smell like cat food. You're right. I never thought of it that way. If Hitbox isn't fair, how can a D-pad on a controller be fair? Hey, bud, what's up? You doing a little finger painting during recess, amigo? This is a controller. It has a D-pad and buttons, okay? The D-pad here has a left and a right. Both of these inputs cannot be pushed simultaneously. It's not possible. Technically, a D-pad is very similar to a joystick. There's a little mini joystick on the inside of this. The hardware is different, but the theory and the science behind it is the same. You can't push both directions at the same time. Even if you push, no matter how hard you push, it doesn't work. You can't do that.
Thank you.
It just is simply not possible. The only way you could do that is if you make, let's say, this button be down. Okay, if you can make this button be down and then you push up with the D-pad, then it's possible. But that should be illegal too. Don't you think? Do you think tournament organizers will actually do anything? I don't think they can. But this is a nice thing to bring to light. I suspect that maybe Hitbox could get banned in the future. It could. But the problem is that the fighting game community, and this has always been the problem, the fighting game community is so niche, and so small that alienating a group of it is a really bad idea. That shit is already on life control. So you are going to then take this small community and remove a big part of it because it's cheating. And I think all these tournament organizers would much rather have that Feria way than they would, oh, you're not allowed to enter my tournament because you use a hitbox. You think that's what they're going to want? No. They're going to be like, hitbox? Why don't you come right on and it's going to be $30 for the badge, $10 per game, and let me show you to the merch. Which do you think is going to happen? Which do you think is going to happen? Come on, dude. It's just not going to happen. They need humans to be there and enter the tournament. They need it. So they're not going to ban it. What the fuck is this guy talking about? What's the percentage of Hitbox players turning up at tournaments, though? 5%? So you're telling me as long as only one person is cheating, then it's okay? Oh, it's only that one guy that cheats. It's all good. I mean, think about it, dude. That guy's like 0.00001%. So it's cool. Let him cheat. It's cool. It's just that one guy. Directional pad and hitbox are the same thing. Did you just get here? Could someone explain it to him? You can't hold down two directions at the same time on a pad unless you cheat, which is not allowed. And people have been caught cheating. He just got here. You can't hit left and right at the same time on a pad unless you macro it so that you're holding down and then you make this button up. That's the only way. Or another button up. Or you can with an analog stick, I guess. But if you're going to do that, I mean, yeah, you could too. Down plus up. People do that, right? I've heard of that too. But I don't think that... Do all fighting games allow the analog stick and the pad to function at the same time? Is that like a thing? Zangief pad players do something like that. And is it like unfair? Like, do you feel like this is unfair? Yeah, it is, right? Well, like I said earlier, the real opinion of mine is that pads are cheating too. I said that already, didn't I? That's the first thing I said. I think pads are cheating too. But the reason why you can't ban pads is because it's the device that comes with the console. And you can't expect everyone who wants to enter a tournament to purchase a $200 arcade stick. So, again, it comes down to alienating. You can't alienate pad players. It's just, it would cut down the popularity so much. You can't alienate keyboard users then. But nobody is. You see? They're allowed. You can use a pad, you could use a stick, you could use a fucking dance pad or anything. You can fucking use a gun, Time Crisis, anything. You can use them all. That's like currently the way it is, you know? It's not fair. It's cheating. This guy, I'm telling you, they made a tweet about it. I saw the controller. What happened was this guy at Evo, he left his pad behind and someone tried it and realized that if you hold down on this guy's pad, charge a flash kick, then push this shoulder button, it'll do a flash kick. And he never lets go of down. This is an official pad, not modded. It was allowed because the game allows it. Literally on a PS4, you have the freedom to do that. It's allowed. That's a macro, and that's another issue. Well, I mean, the real issue, I think, is that you can't police these things. You can't police these things. Pokimane is never going to open up your arcade stick and drug test you to see if you are cheating. So if they're never going to police these things, then you should cheat. The way they currently do in shit that's not a fucking joke. Like boxing or every sport. When I asked you how many UFC fighters do steroids, you said 100%. And they are banned. And they test for them. So if you are a fighting game player who is not using the steroids equivalent in fighting games, then all you have to do is realize that, oh, well, I'm the only guy here that's not on steroids. Okay, you have honor. That's cool. Your hitbox doesn't allow for you to hit both directions at the same time. You know? Think about that, dude. If you come to me, I sell hitboxes, okay? You come to me and I say, yeah, we got 2 hitboxes. They're the same price. That one over there, it has a limiter on it. It restricts how fast you could go and, you know, whatever. And then this one, this is the fucking made in Taiwan one that all the pros use. It's up to you, man. Same price. Which one are you going to pick?
Thank you.
No one's ever going to know, literally. This guy's dumb argument was provide their own controllers, like tournament sanctioned controllers. Do you remember something called an arcade? They were just like, it was like an ancient gathering place where people would go and you wouldn't take anything with you. You wouldn't take a controller or anything. You would just take money. And then you would get change from this machine that would give you change. And you would use their hardware. If the hardware didn't work, if the block button was over here, it doesn't even matter what they were doing. You had to use that. And it's tournament time. That's how it used to be. But they started making console fighting games. And the console fighting games became way superior. And then arcades died. So you can't do that, basically. I mean, how could you do that? It's just not possible. Again, it comes down to it really is the ugly final conclusion is always the people running the tournament want there to be a tournament. So do the people that go to the tournament. Everyone wants there to be a tournament, right? That we can agree on. Hitbox users, cheaters, honorable people, everyone wants the tournament to exist. So in order for the tournament to exist, then certain compromises have to be made. You have to allow people to use whatever controller they're comfortable with using. Otherwise, you're going to narrow down your, customers, fans, everything. Like, whatever the word is, you're going to alienate too many people. It's simple as that. Player base, interest level, there's a ton of things. There's a ton of reasons why this is currently not the case. I guarantee you that I promise, dude, there are people who run the tournaments who think that shit is cheap and should be banned. But they know that they can't ban it. You just can't ban it. It's just simple as that. You would lose way too much money. You just would. You would lose way too much money. At the end of the day, you need money to run a tournament. Pro fighters have to use the gloves the organizers provide, so why not provide hitboxes and sticks and pads that aren't modded? Should I let this guy figure it out on his own? They could barely fucking afford to. Dude, they're charging $30 entry fees for these tournaments. You want them to they're still playing on PS fucking 4s. They barely got 4 Pro. They just got PS4 Pro. Dude, these tournament developers are basically in Tijuana and shit. They don't have that shit, dude. They just got Sega Genesis. Where is it gonna come from? You just gonna poop it out? Who's gonna pay for all that shit? I don't know. I think it'll become more and more clear. Like right now, here's the thing. Right now, only fucking people who are trying to be what do you call those guys that are trying to be different? I feel like for the last 10 years, people have just been using Hitbox to be different or because their hands hurt or whatever. You know, they're just trying to be different. And okay, that has not proven anything about Hitbox being cheap because these different motherfuckers are scrubs. Dude, these guys are scrubs. It doesn't matter what you put in their hands, they're never gonna win. But now that Daigo and Tokido and real fucking players are showing you how good this device is, now 13, 14, 15 years later, this is a debate. Now it is. You see what I'm saying? Just give it time. Eventually, more and more players will use it. The players who are capable of taking advantage of a corked bat. Not just some random noodle arm having bitch. Some real professional player who could really take a fucking corked bat and hit a home run with it. An illegal home run. Then you'll start to realize, oh fuck, this shit is cheap. This is cheap. You know, it should be banned. You'll see. Give it time. I mean, whatever, man. You're old, you're bald. What do you want me to do, man? I'm old and I'm bald. Can't do much about that. I'm also fat, but it doesn't change anything. And I have gout. This guy's right. He's also banned. This is exactly why I stopped doing that podcast I used to do, because at the end of the day, I didn't even give a fuck about my own opinions. Like, dude, I'm tired of even saying this shit. I'm dealing with kindergartners, you know? Forget my opinions. I don't give a fuck. Fuck this opinion and fuck everyone's opinion. I don't want to hear it. Opinions suck, you know? I stopped doing a podcast because of that. I don't care. Whatever. Nice debate today, chat. I had fun. At the end of the day, it was nice insulting you when you said stuff that I felt like was a bad argument. That was basically what I was fishing for. Like, all right, why don't you give me your best shot? And then, parry that shit. You know, that was the idea. And I had plenty of fun doing that. Your arguments are trash. But it doesn't mean that if you really put your mind to it, you won't come up with a good argument. The only best argument at the end of the day is we can't ban it because it would alienate too many players, and the fighting game community needs as many bodies as it could get. Because it's just so niche. You can't exclude so many people from entering. They just need the money. You know?